Hey y'all, welcome to Brew Creative. Today we will dive into my writing process. We're going to cover a few things here on this video today, and I hope you leave motivated and increase your creativity. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and comment below. What have I written so far? So I started off writing 3 novellas that took me a year and a half to write down. And it's an entire series that I originally wanted novels, but novellas, they're fine. And then I also wrote, I finished about 6 or 7, maybe 8 short stories so far. I've created a few creative writing pieces. I'm currently working on my first novel, and also some side stories based on the books that I've written so far. My writing process. How do I process my writing? So, like I said, I am a pantser. I'm a pantser. And previously on Bree Creative, I have shown you me portraying the roles of a plotter and a pantser. But which one am I? I am a plotter and a pantser. Before I started writing, I was a full-on pantser. On my plotter versus pantser video, I revealed that I am indeed a pantser. And my story ideas come from my mind. My mind takes me. My mind is the mastermind behind all these stories, and anytime that I'm in writer's block, my mind can show me what's next in the story. And it really helped me with my third novella to finish, because I was literally stuck in the middle of the book, and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to finish this. But thanks to my imagination, I was able to finish it within about 5 months. Okay. So, yes. Step 1 is my imagination, my mind process. Step 2, which I skip sometimes, is the outlining. So, I'm not really an outliner when it comes to writing. If I do outline, I'm not outlining the entire thing. I might have a portion that I already have in mind, but I outline as I go. So I might be in the middle of the story and I outline the rest. That's what I did with my third novella, or with the novel I'm currently working on. So how I did that one, I had the first 2 chapters, and then when I kept on writing the book, I added more and more. I know, plotters, if you're a plotter, you most likely will not like my method of outlining. But yeah, that's what I do. And then when I'm writing the book, it takes me time. I'll say my novellas took me less time, except for the third one, which took me over a year. But the novel that I'm currently writing has taken me over a year to do, and I'm only on chapter 13, so yeah. But whenever I am consistent, I can write like crazy. And then whenever I do finish the book, I do revise and add. However, I do not rewrite the book. Here's why. That, to me, that's stressful. I'm like, once I finish the book, I should be able to revise and add whatever needs to be edited. And starting over, I'm just I just don't see how some writers just start over to make a better book. I understand, like, they want the best quality of the book as possible. However, I'm like, that's a lot of thinking. I think that would take me longer, and I will most likely write the same story. Seriously, like at least 90%. And yes, I do not rewrite my stories. I don't start over. Because if I do, that's gonna discourage me. And that's just me as a writer. I just don't start over. I'm like, I'll kind of be like, I spent this long and now I'm starting over because it's just no good. I do read my stories plenty of times. It's fun to read. There could be sections that could be cringy. Those are the parts that I changed, and whenever I read it again, it felt less cringy and like, okay, I can move on to the book as well. So, how long does it take? Well, it can take from like a couple months to a year, maybe 2. It just depends. It depends on the writer. And when it comes to me, I know I mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to mention it again. So I have this novella series. I'm not going to say what it is because it'd be a spoiler. So the first one, it only took me 2 months to write. Yes, pretty great. I felt like that's an accomplishment. That was like the quickest book I written. Yes, it was. And then when I got to the second one, I actually started in February. I was kind of multitasking between the two because they were like back to back, and it was a very bad idea. Yeah, please don't write book 1 and 2 back to back, or number something something and number something something back to back. That's a bad idea. You'll get yourself all scrambled, and like the quality won't be as great as you initially thought it would be, and that's not a good thing. So I had to stop writing the second book so I can finish the first book. But whenever I continued the second book, it took me about a month and a half, and if you include February that I written the beginning part, that took me about a week, so about 2 months as well, about maybe 2.5 months. But it was pretty good. I was in consistent speed. And then with the third novella, I was so excited to write that I wrote it the day I finished the second book. That's how excited I was. And I was on a roll. I was pretty consistent until I got to about chapter 5 or so, and the pace just slowed down dramatically. I was stuck. I was in writer's block, and I was like, man. And while I was like in that writer's block, I was actually revising a section of the first book that I didn't like. And wow, that really got me a little off track. I was still in the series, but with the current book, with the third book that I was trying to write, I allowed myself to get distracted. And obviously, during the daytime, school, it does play a major role, but I try to find time during the daytime to write. And that's why I always bring some type of folder or journal to like keep my ratings. And I can say, like, whenever I was consistent with that third novella, it was really good. It was really good. Like, I kept going for a couple chapters. Then when I hit about chapter 13, I was stuck again. And I was stuck for a while, like 3 weeks. And I was so mad that I was like, I'm not going to be able to finish the book. And then when I saw the rest of the story, I was like, oh my gosh, this is how I'm going to finish it. This is how I'm going to finish it. I know how the ending is going to be now. And with that, that took about 5 months. 5 months, which is crazy. And that's whenever I outlined the last half of the book, which was even more crazy. And once I finished that series completely, I was like, wow, I can't believe I finally finished it. And then I got myself into a new series. It's a fantasy series, and I wanted to make it a novel. I knew it was going to consist of 4 books. Crazy, right? I had a rough outline in my head. I had a outline page, a physical copy of it that I took everywhere I went. And yeah, let's just say I was consistently in writer's block, and things, yeah, I wrote a lot slower. And whenever I actually started, because I was riding the bus from school, and I was wondering like of this new story idea that maybe I should write. And I had a bus buddy friend that we were real good friends, and we were talking about it and all, and I was like, you know what, this is gonna be the new series. And this came to me on February 25th of 2023. And the crazy part about it is that I was still working on that novella series. And whenever I finally finished that novella series, I got back into that new series, and I was literally on chapter 1. Okay? So, let me tell you something. It took me 5 months to finish chapter 1 of that novel. 5 months. I know that's bad. But yeah, that happens. It happens even to the best of us. But I got through it. I was able to write a few chapters. Well, okay, I got back in writer's block by the time I got to chapter 4, okay? Well, actually, chapter 3. In the middle of chapter 3, I got into writer's block. And then when I got to chapter 4, I was in writer's block for a long time. But then one of my teachers told me, my English teacher told me that you can't write through writer's block, you have to write around it. And I was like, I thought for a while, and I was like, what could I do while I'm in this writer's block? And that's when the short stories began coming to me. And I started that in September 30th. Yeah, it was like towards the end of September. I wrote my first short story. It was fantasy, of course. However, I had more mysterious, teensy bit of horror, a tease horror in there. And then I was so intrigued with it. I was like, I want to write this. And for the next couple of weeks, I was very consistent with those short stories. I wrote the first 3 with no problem. And then I skipped all the way to number 48. And that took me about 3 weeks to write. If 2 or 3 weeks. I was like, whoa, I like this short story. And then I jumped back to number 4. Yeah. I went out of order by a lot. And that was very short. And then I tried to start the 5th one, but I didn't get that far. Still not that far. And then I did another one. I did a Christmas story based on that one, which is number 15. That took me about 3 weeks. I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed that one. And then I wrote another short story. So in the span of September 2023 to August 2024, I've completed about 6 to 8 short stories. That's not bad. That's not bad. And my goal pretty much was to get around that number. So yeah. And whenever I get writer's block from writing short stories, what kept me going with writing was the creative writing pieces. And the creative writing pieces are actually based on the novella series. And I was so excited about that. I had endless of ideas, and I was consistent with that for less than a week. But it came to me and I loved it. And whenever it comes to the writing process, it doesn't matter how long it takes you. It's about finishing it. It's about never giving up. And if you don't give up, you'll finish it. And if you give up, you won't reach your destination. And the writing process can take a long time. It can, even for someone like me. Yeah. And sometimes the writing process can take you in different directions, maybe like different story ideas as well, like as the process did with me. And you never know. And you can't entirely predict everything that's going to happen, because sometimes something unpredicted can happen. And and that's why you have to be able to adjust throughout the process. And with any process that you take upon life, you have to be able to adjust. And before we get off, I just want to show you my expandable folder that helps me organize my writing. And I actually bought this December of 2023. And it has helped me organize my writings. So I have all these categories, all that stuff. And the ones I guess I can show you without spoilers. So I do have a section that says other works right there. Yeah. And then I also have a typing in progress. So I actually write and type my stories. And then I also have a writing in progress. And let me tell you, it does take me time. And that's why I bring it everywhere I go. I like writing the story first before typing it. And you might think it's double the work and all. It is, but if you have that idea in mind and you can't just have your device out and you don't want to forget it, it's great having paper around. It's great. And you have a folder. You never know. You never know. So comment below what writing piece that you're currently in progress, and tell me what your writing process is like. And thank you for watching Brew Creative, and stay creative.